And joining me now in the studio is lawyer and social development advocate Fred Nzako. I also have public affairs analyst OLUDOTUN MABINUORI. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us at this time. Let me begin with you, Mr. MABINUORI. So the government has said, stop the protests, come back to the dialogue for more dialogue, let the process indeed begin. And S.W.A.T training begins today. Police insists that there will be none of this SARS officials in this crucial body. We have a totally new crop of police officers who will be much more better than what Nigerians have been dealt with in the past.
For me, replacing SARS with S.W.A.T is as good as replacing the spoon they used to stir your soup in order to change the taste of the soup. If the soup is not going the way you want to, you have to change the ingredients, not changing the spoon. So if you are, just as the protester said the other time, you can't change the personnel without changing the system. Have you been to police barrack recently and see what is there? You can't come out of such dilapidated building and go on the road with and have your senses in right position. It is not done. So until the system itself is fixed, the police that we are still using as the one we inherited from the colonial era, from the colonial masters, as far back as 1890. So we can't 1820. Sorry, we can't have that and say we want to move forward. It's not possible. Let us decentralize police. For instance, a governor in Lagos State cannot control the so-called Commissioner of Police in Lagos State. It's not done. You can't have this kind of structure and want the economy to move forward. And again, this police EndSARS of it is just like a tipping point, and it's just a way of to have what to call the pull effect on other sector of the economy, because the entire system, the institution in Nigeria is very weak. We can't have strong. We don't need strong men. We need strong institutions. We need institutions that are not young, that are not below human beings. In Nigeria, you see people will break law and they will still tell you there's nothing you can do, and yet you don't do anything to them because the institutions are weak. Let us strengthen the institutions across board. And again, the so-called we have, one problem we have in Nigeria is we have so many policies. Policy implementation very okay, but I mean policy formulation very okay, but implementation is a problem.
How to execute
How to implement it. For instance, we have what we call unnecessary reports of 2012. Why can't we implement this policy? We have over 500 MDAs, ministry, department, and agencies. What are we doing with all those ones? So until those things are implemented, until we have what we call systemic change, we can't go anywhere. That's the issue.
Mr. Nzako, so with all that has been said, and the fact, OLUDOTUN talked about rippling effect, but economists have said the economy has been grounded, meetings haven't, held, jobs are at stake, more jobs could be lost, billions have been lost daily already as a result of, and we see the youth not deterred. Look at Alausa, the city of power, witnessing, such a blockade, so to speak. How do you relate with this argument?
What has government said? Does it not beat anybody that 12 days down the line, there's a massive protest in the country, the president has not spoken? The president of the country that was elected to lead the country has not spoken a word. What does it tell you? It tells you that this other government is feeding facts from these protests in terms of politics. And it has given room for a lot of conspiracy theories. Because of this diatribe of North-South dichotomy, but the diatribe of power shifting from North and South, it has lent voice to people who begin to theorize that 2023 is at the bedrock of government taciturn approach to this protest. And if the witch cries in the night and the baby dies in the morning, there is a nexus, proverbially. So why wouldn't government speak? That is the question. 12 days down the line, it is obvious that the protesters are not ready to back down. You want to allow the country to continue to nosedive? We were just climbing out of recession. We had not exited recession. But coronavirus came. We spent 6 months doing nothing. Now the protest has come. The economy is receiving all manner of bashing.
The Vice President said on Saturday
saying and doing
that judicial commissions of inquiry had been set up across the state and work would begin to ascertain the true level of abuses at the hands of officials. And here in Lagos, the Justice Okuwobi panel is beginning. We'll start sitting in about an hour's time. compensation is the target, you know, to know exactly how much. Is that a step in the right direction?
That is not the main thing. That is scratching the surface. That is curing the ailment, I mean the symptoms and not the ailment. What government is trying to do is to bamboozle the people and then go in the wrong direction.
Okay.
The people are asking for systemic reform. Everybody that is talking about this protest is talking about reform.
Right.
And then what is making government to withhold its move? Well, let me tell you, there is no institution or organization in any country that is as well endowed with brilliant people, with finance, with knowledge, with information as government. How can government not sit up and begin to put things in place? Meanwhile, these are things promised Nigerians.
Okay, we'll end on that point. Let me hear from OLUDOTUN here. Okay, so with what the states are doing, work to begin, victims being urged to come forward, families of victims being urged to come forward to give account to the government, and compensation will be paid on the spot. Are we making progress, at least in the state?
For me, that's just, as he said, curing the symptoms, leaving the ailments. Are we sure that this will not repeat itself even if this protest, if these people are off the streets? I think the government is just handling this with kids' glove, because we are looking at a population of over 130 million people. If you check Nigerian Nigerian population demography, we have 65% of Nigerian population below 35 years old. And these are the people we are telling. These are people that prefer to to apologize than take excuse. These are people that are the energy in them is disruptive. So it's not more like what they call the reserve army. If you don't manage them well, if this thing should go out of hand, what we have seen Hong Kong people have been on the street for 18 months now, and they are not backing down. And the same energy is what we are seeing here. This is just the beginning of what we are saying. If government doesn't come out and let people see action, we are tired of policy formulation. We have set up a committee. You can't set up committees to look into another committee. We are looking at action. Let us see action. Let us see that, okay, this has been done, this has been done, this has been retired. The president is not, they said silence is golden, but it's not time when silence is golden.
Right,
Our president should talk.
Gentlemen.
We can't just 12 days on the street. Economic implication of this can be told. Nigeria loses not less than 400 billion naira on a daily basis. I mean 40 billion naira on a daily basis for the lockdown of the economy. So the economic implication of this will also heighten. I mean, we will worsen the so-called unemployment. We are looking at unemployment is going to 21.7%, and you add more to that, it will be unbearable, because if you add that and inflation, just a minute, inflation and unemployment will give what they call mystery index, which is above 40%. That means more than 40% of Nigerians are miserable. And someone that is miserable will surely join the protest. And let's thank God that this protest is still peaceful. By the time it goes out of hand, it turns to arson and what have you, then it becomes unbearable.
OLUDOTUN MABINUORI, thank you very much. OLUDOTUN, thank you so much for your contributions on TVC Breakfast. And of course, our lawyer in the house, Mr. Nzeko, thank you.